Welcome to our online presentation of electrical and computer science and engineering. My name is Amanda Olinger. I'm a senior studying computer science and engineering from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
And I'm Cameron. Thanks for coming today. And I'm a junior in the program, studying computer science and engineering. I'm originally from the Quad Cities, Bettendorf area.
So today I will be discussing electrical engineering at Iowa, even though I am studying computer science and engineering. When I first entered the engineering program at Iowa, I actually selected electrical engineering, but then decided that computer science and engineering was more the direction I wanted to take. So to start off, we just like to have a little joke about what computer engineering is and obviously what other people stereotypically think that you do. But in reality, you use Google to pretty much find anything in college and during your internships and co-ops. So pretty accurate representation here. So what exactly does an electrical engineering do? They apply engineering principles to design, creation, and maintenance of electrical components and systems. So that can include a variety of things, including power grids, semiconductors, wireless network connections, design and create small-scale computer chips, which is pretty much in everything that we do in today's society. Design and manage communication networks, like I said, so that would be Wi-Fi communication and so many other things. So some careers that electrical engineers can take are both in hardware and software design. I think stereotypically people tend to think that electrical engineers only work on the hardware side, which just is not true. There's a lot of software integration as well. Medical image processing, which is really big in the biomedical field, device physics, embedded systems, electrical power generation and distribution, which is very, very common since everyone in today's society needs electricity and so many other things. So some companies that are hiring electrical engineers are shown here, but definitely not limited to the companies here. Electrical engineers are widely sought after, so getting a job post-graduation should not be any sort of an issue. Some local companies that hire are Collins Aerospace, Whirlpool, and John Deere, but companies like Google and GE are also hiring.
Yeah, you're pretty hard pressed, going to the career fair. We have one in the fall and the spring, and usually about 150 companies or so, probably.
Yeah. Yep, I would definitely agree.
Yeah, and as an electrical or CSE, it's probably, the one I went to last spring, there were about, I'd say 140, and like 60 or 70 of those companies were looking for some sort of like electrical engineer or like IT focused or computer science focused or software engineering focused. So it's pretty promising to know that there's just so much opportunity in the career fields of electrical and computer engineering.
So some elective focus areas or EFAs at the University of Iowa for electrical engineering include the following. I'm going to just talk about the top three that we have here that a lot of students pick. So communication systems, that's the design and construct of transmitters, receivers, and infrastructure that make communications via commercial radio or televisions, phones, internet, and all other types of systems. Another really common one is computer hardware, and that's developing and designing new processor chips that power computers, tablets, smartphones, things like that. And they also play a central role in countless other electronic devices. So IoT devices, smart refrigerators, things like that, that's really prominent in that field. And lastly, power systems is a really big EFA. This type of engineer keeps the lights on by generating electricity, getting it to our homes and businesses. So just how power is distributed throughout a community. And here we have a video of one of the senior design projects that Cameron is going to pull up for you. So in the video, I don't know if anyone in elementary school had the chalk feathers from school, but basically, sorry
Sorry
about
about
that.
that.
That's basically where you try to balance a peacock on your feather and move your hand back and forth to see how long you can balance it. Well, this is a machine that does that for you, which I think is pretty sweet. It incorporates not only electrical engineering, as you can see with the motor and the actual device, but it incorporates software engineering too. So telling the motor how to move back and forth to balance the device. And this is just one of many examples of how electrical engineering and computer science and engineering work together.
So I'm going to touch a little bit on computer science and engineering. This major is actually fairly new to the college. Within the last 4 or 5 years, I believe, it was kind of created. Amanda is, I think, the first class to kind of fully graduate with the major.
Yep, my classes, yeah.
So yeah, it kind of started when she started here as well, and it's really like a combination of both the computer science curriculum in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, as well as the software design, software engineering curriculum that's housed in the College of Engineering, getting more of that computer engineering background, that problem solving sort of mindset, and learning to work with others to design that software, as well as that computer science, which gives you the foundation in computer theory, computer logic, and sort of really delving deep into the concepts and what makes computers possible and the analytical tools. And this major, I didn't mention this before, but we are the only college in the state of Iowa to offer this major, and next year we'll be going through the accreditation process, which takes about a yearish to finish up. Every 6 years, colleges go through that process, and now it's just our time to get CSE accredited next year. So any degrees are retroactive, and so Amanda, who will graduate, her degree she'll be accredited once she graduates, even though that process will happen next year. And in terms of like the United States, the country, we are one of about 13 colleges with this program. So it's really pretty unique to us here, and hopefully is a program that helps prepare students even better for industry. So in general, sort of CSE, this program, you can do a lot of different things with this program. I have a list up here of some examples, but the career path you could take really super broad, and smart technologies is definitely one area you could get into. This includes, as you can see up there, really any device that can connect to the internet, whether that be smart cars, who can also any device that can really think for itself as well, incorporating AI, machine learning. Those are kind of big buzzwords that y'all probably have heard in the news, and devices that can think for themselves and make decisions, connect to the internet of things. That term is kind of coined and describes devices that basically can have some sort of microprocessor inside them, some sort of chip that can make decisions, connect, play your Spotify list, for instance, or your Spotify playlist on your fridge when you're making dinner, or having a car be able to kind of track your location with GPS. And those are all IoT, Internet of Things devices, and definitely growing field, exponentially growing field. AI, machine learning, that's just going to get bigger and bigger. And software engineering, that is a big area as well. Software is really any piece of program or whatnot that is either on your phone, like an app, on a computer, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint. Those are pieces of software. Companies create pieces of software either for consumers or for internal purposes, and software design, software engineering is really the creation of this software from beginning to end, and making sure it's secure. Data is stored securely. So you enter a password on a website, and that website, that web app, that web application has to store your social security information, your credit card information securely, so that hackers and whoever malicious individuals out there can't just kind of tap in and grab that information. So as well as making the application robust, you don't want your app to your app or your program to fail every like 5 seconds, right? You want to be able to take loads of sort of data and process things and run well on your computer or whatever device you're using. And so that all goes into designing software. As well as hardware design, there's a lot of overlap, like Amanda mentioned, between CSE and ECE, electrical engineering. And you'll be working a lot with probably electrical engineers if you're working in software and vice versa. And just knowing and having knowledge of that hardware is super helpful when designing the software. Just as a side note, that Tesla there that's pictured, it's actually the university's self-driving Tesla. Professors do research with that, as well as one professor actually holds office hours or has held office hours before in that car, which is pretty cool. So here's a list of companies that are currently hiring CSE majors. I'm sure you all recognize some companies in this list, some of the bigger tech giants, right? Google, Microsoft, Apple, as well as there's some smaller ones as well, such as IDX. And short little story here, IDX, they're a local company. They work with biological data, bioinformatics, and they're actually the only company as of now, to my knowledge, to be certified in and to have this sort of AI government clearance. And what that does basically is allows them to diagnose using AI. So they create this machine, specifically it diagnoses a condition called diabetic retinopathy, and patients can come in, and what that is basically is, if you have diabetes, you can have complications with your eyes, and so these patients can come in to the doctor's office, and they can use this machine to sort of give them this diagnosis without any doctor intervention. No doctor has to, approve it after that diagnosis is complete. It's just purely based on machine, purely AI. And so that is super cool to have a company like that in the area that students can intern at, help with, research at, and definitely sort of on the cutting edge of bioinformatics, biological data analysis, and AI. So just like electrical engineering, CSE has some elective focus areas as well that you'll pick when you get to your end of sophomore, early junior year. Here's the list up here on the PowerPoint, and I'm just going to touch on a few of them. First one there, big data, data mining. That has to do with sort of the, our population is growing and growing every day, right? And with population growth comes increased data usage and increased data creation. Like, just think about the millions and millions of people that live on this earth, right? They generate a bunch of data, billions and billions of pieces of data probably every day. And in order to kind of analyze this and make use out of this data, there has to be software tools designed that can efficiently and effectively sort of analyze this. And you feed it a bunch of data, and it comes out, spits out some useful information, such as predicting behaviors or sort of discovering trends, whether it be in business or medicine or whatever application that has to do with. Bioinformatics, similar, sort of the big data, but that has to do with specifically biological data. And like I was mentioning with IDX, they kind of help to, it's a cross between computer science and biomedical engineering, biology, and they really help to create that software, utilize AI, machine learning, to predict biological behaviors, medical trends, and such. Signal and image processing, that one specifically, that involves taking in sort of speech, audio files, image files, video files, and processing these files to pull out useful information, to break down and create new ways of communicating. An example of this, every year the senior class has to create a project, senior design, right? And this year, I have a buddy that's working on a project that It's actually an app, and it utilizes this sort of image processing, and it's to help those who aren't versed in ASL sign language to be able to communicate with somebody who only uses that to communicate, right? They can use their phone camera to point that camera at the person, and it recognizes the hand movements and the skin on their hand using AI and sort of machine learning, and it's able to kind of spit back at the user what those signs mean, and that allows the user to also sign back and from there communicate back and forth effectively. And that's just an example of a student project, which is being able to have that opportunity and to create something like that by the end of your time here at Iowa should be super fulfilling and super exciting. And then software engineering, that's our largest, most popular, at least, EFA. We touched on that that goes into the creation and maintenance of reliable and secure software and programs. So I'm going to show you a video here. And this video really demonstrates the crossover between the different majors. This is an example of a student project that might be created during sophomore or junior year. And this device, to create this device, you need an electrical engineer, right, to do the wiring. And then you're going to also need a software engineer, probably, to create that software that communicates with the hand, with the motions of the human, and it kind of mirrors that on the device. And eventually, if you want to kind of continue this device or this prototype into a working model, you're going to have to work with a biomedical engineer and to integrate this with the patient that you're making it for, and to sort of meet his or her biological needs, which in general, at the University of Iowa, there's just so much cross between the different majors, so much collaboration. You'll meet students from different areas, different interests, and that's what's just so fantastic about having a college where everyone's housed in one building, and there's just so much collaboration going on.
So one really neat thing about the College of Engineering is the size of it and how you have the opportunity to be able to connect with various professors, especially in electrical and computer science. A really great thing about these professors is they're always open to come talk to you about class material, their research, internship and co-op opportunities, or job searching. They're really supportive, and they really care about our students and wanting to help us. Another really great thing about the professors is they're all doing research, and a lot of these professors are doing research in areas that are not just in electrical and computer science and engineering. There's a lot of biomed professors, there's some civil, just a lot of crossover within the majors. So it really is the engineering college working together as a whole, and it just shows you how universal this major is.
So to finish up here, I'm going to touch on a few different organizations that we have at Iowa. There's I think 500 plus, right, Amanda, in our college altogether?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. And here's just a few that we listed that are specific to electrical and computer engineering. IEEE is the sort of professional society. Every degree, every engineering discipline has one. It stands for the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. And whether you're electrical or whether you're computer science or really anything related to the computational sciences in general, or the electrical engineering sort of discipline in general, you can join this organization. They have professional talks, and at least the one on campus has professional talks. It's free to join. They bring in individuals from industry to do talks, to network with our students. And if you want to build projects as well, that they can provide you with hardware and help you with that. The past couple of years that they've been going, and they've been competing in the Hyperloop competition, which is sponsored by Tesla. And the goal of this competition is to create a mode of transportation that doesn't touch the ground. And so they kind of work on that throughout the year, and then they go and they present this at the competitions. And the president actually of IEEE a few years ago was able to kind of meet Elon and shake his hand and ask him some questions, Elon Musk. So that was pretty cool. Just kind of shows you just the amount of opportunities that are here at Iowa. And if you want to get involved, there's so many different ways you can get involved. ACM is another organization that we have that's pretty more general than IEEE. It's really, it promotes the computational sciences and really technology in general. And if you're interested in anything along those lines, you can join. They have professional talks. They have a big sort of seminar weekend event that they hold every year. They bring in people from industries such as, last year they had people from, I believe, Amazon, Intel, I want to say, and then some other companies that did some talks. There's free food, which is always good for college students. They had, I think, Jimmy John's and some pizza last year, which was pretty cool. And you get some free swag, some free shirts and such. Hack Iowa, they're an organization that kind of promotes hackathons, which if you're not familiar with what hackathons are, they're kind of weekend-long coding endeavors, and you get a group of people up and some friends, usually like 3 to 4 people, and you work on creating a piece of software or a piece of code that from start to finish in a weekend, usually over like 48 hours. And some people stay up all night, and they provide caffeinated beverages. They provide food. They had like burritos last year and pizza and subs. And again, it's free to sign up, and they give you a free shirt, and a really great way to collaborate and meet people too. And they have like, I think our hackathon had like $5,000 worth of prizes that you could win based on your idea and like presenting it to the judges. So yeah, another great club to get involved with if you're interested. So that sort of wraps up our presentation. If we were in person right now, we'd ask y'all if you had any questions for us, but we're not. And so feel free to email us. Email there at the bottom. If you have any additional questions, we'd be more than happy to answer. Feel free to email me or Amanda individually too if you'd like all our informations on the site, the engineering site. So yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.